Hi, I'm Michelle Chalfant, psychotherapist, holistic life coach, and human just like you, learning to navigate life's challenges. With over 25 years experience, I teach people how to get healthy using the adult chair model. The adult chair model is where simple psychology meets grounded spirituality, and it teaches us how to become healthy adults. From anxiety and depression to codependency and relationship issues, you can use the adult chair for just about anything. Each week, I share practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and a wide range of experts on how to get unstuck, how to live authentically, and how to truly love yourself, all while sitting in your adult chair. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. I am Michelle Chalfant. Delighted to be here with you today on podcast number 266. You guys, this is going to be a really good show. As always, we're talking about some good stuff. Today is about making relationships work from the adult chair. I want to say up front, this is not just about dating or marriage or partnership or anything like that. You can apply what we're talking about today in any relationship. Child, parent, siblings, work, I don't care. This is just about using the adult chair in relationship. However, today's show is about is with Tracy. We've had her on 3 times talking about her relationship. She went through a divorce. That was podcast number 179. We talked with her. That was the first time we had her on. Then she came back for podcast number 199, and we talked about her experience with dating from the adult chair. And now we're talking about making relationships work from the adult chair. So lots to talk about, but I wish I had a drum roll sound. Great news. Exciting news. Are you guys ready? Yeah. In September, big news, we have the Adult Chair Workshop. Finally coming back. I'm so excited. We can finally do in-person events. So this has been postponed like 3 or 4 times, but it is on. We are going to the beaches of Charleston. We'll be in Isle of Palms. Very specifically for you, those of you that know that area, we're in Wild Dunes. We have a lovely venue and we have rooms that are blocked. So if you would like to stay there, now I just want to say, if some people have been emailing in about like, where exactly is the hotel? It looks like the address is different. It's just across the street. So the venue is over on one side of the street. The hotel rooms are right across the street, very close, but it does have a different address, but they're right there. So if you go to the website, theadultchair.com/events, you can find out all about the workshop, the 3-day event. That's September 16th, 17th, and 18th. And you can book your room right there too. We do have a room block with some discounted rooms for you. We would love to have you. Love, love, love. So check that out. And yeah, I can't even explain to you how much I'm looking forward to this. I love our live events. And the Adult Chair Workshop is definitely a way to take what you hear on the podcast to the next level. Most people leave there and they look at me and they go, oh my gosh, I've transformed. Thank you. It's an intense 3 days and it's worth it. You really get a lot of adult chair tools and you do a lot of your own work. It's very experiential. So come join us. Okay. All right, we're going to get to Tracy in one moment. We're going to hear a quick little message from, you know it, hair food. We all know the benefits of eating superfoods. Well, what if we had products for our hair that were loaded with superfoods? Well, guess what? I have found them. Yep, I've been using clean, simple, kitchen-crafted recipes from Hair Food and have seen amazing results. They have a wide range of products, but I started with their shampoos and conditioners, and they are all incredible. They have tea tree and lavender, manuka honey and apricot, coconut milk and chai spice, just to name a few. And yes, they all smell as good as they sound. I've been using these products for only a month, and my hair feels so much better. It feels healthier and softer with far less dry and split ends. And why wouldn't it feel healthier? I am feeding it good, healthy food. These products are also free of sulfates, parabens, and dyes, because let's face it, your hair does not want to eat that stuff. The best part is the price. The products are so affordable. Check them out for yourself at Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, Walmart, or Amazon. Your hair will thank you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to jump right into what's going on with Tracy, because let me just tell you, she was applying the adult chair and fell out of the adult chair and landed in her adolescent chair for a bit, as did her boyfriend. And she's back, and she made the conscious decision to jump in her adult chair or climb with my coaxing back in her adult chair. And guess what? She transformed her relationship, and now they are back on track. So again, you can apply what we're talking about today to any relationship. So I hope you enjoy the show. Here we go with Tracy. Here we are again with someone that's now been on. Is this your third time, Tracy?
Yeah.
Well,
third time.
Welcome back, old timer, to the Adult Chair Podcast. Yeah, we appreciate you being on and your vulnerability and sharing your divorce and dating journey, mostly from the adult chair, with the brilliant guidance of Michelle Chalfant.
I couldn't do it without you.
Yes, of course. So anyway, I really do appreciate you being on. I was just talking with Tracy about her dating journey. And I just want to say, anyone that's listening to the show, whether you're in a relationship that you're married, that you're dating, I don't care. This show is for you, because it's about how do you have a healthy relationship and how do you make your relationship work from the adult chair, even if, and especially if I should say, both parties are not in their adult chair. And let me add to that, maybe neither one of you are in your adult chair like it was with Tracy. And thank God I pointed out she was not in her adult chair. So we're going to talk about what happened. And I want to say it really turned her relationship completely around, because she was able to go from a relationship in the adolescent chair to now a relationship, a healthier one, in the adult chair. And she really almost lost this relationship, or had lost it. And now it's back stronger than ever. So let's talk about your journey with this person.
Yeah. So I think, I don't even know how it came up, but we started the conversation about, if I was still with this person and how things were going. I think you knew we kind of had gone our separate ways, but something happened. And I was mentioning that I just kept feeling a pull towards him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know if it was because it's who I'm supposed to be with, or if it was, I needed to apologize to him because I felt this, I just had this feeling, there was something that had happened during when we very first started dating. I was like, you know what? I just feel like I need to apologize for that, because I know he has a hard time trusting. And I think that played a really big piece into what had kind of almost completely dissolved our relationship. And so that's kind of where we were. And I don't know exactly what started our conversation with it. And maybe you do, if you recall it, but go ahead.
No. I think I want to, for those people that did not hear the previous two podcasts that you and I did, we did podcast number 179 and 199. Let's update people. So you've been with this guy almost a year and a half. You had gotten divorced. The first show was about covert narcissism, and that you had divorced, and then we went into dating. Now what? Now, you're someone that's now dating, and what that's all. That was 199 that we did. So this one is about now really your dating journey and how to make relationships work from the adult chair, because I don't care what kind of relationship you're in, they're difficult if you don't have healthy adult skills. So what had happened with you is, I'm just going to summarize it and please chime in.
Go for it.
But you had started dating this man. You guys were very much into each other, and you were kind of pulled back. And we talked about that some on podcast number 199. But, you were wondering, like, how do you trust this person? He was kind of wondering the same thing, but you guys came together and seemed to have a pretty good relationship from the beginning, and it was going well. But then some things happened. And what are those things? How do I explain what those things were? Doubt creeped in for both of you. Would that be a great way? I would guess we could summarize it. Yeah. Doubt came in for you, but here's the problem. Doubt came in for you. He started acting weird, right? Or you kind of pulled back. He was kind of pulling back, but there was no conversation about it. And you guys were both making up a lot of stories and assumptions about why that might have been. And of course, we're in the world of dating apps, which in my opinion, there were no dating apps when I was dating. So that's like a curveball to any relationship. I just can't imagine. Like I hear these stories
So
about
hard.
dating apps.
So hard. Yeah.
So that's hard to navigate a relationship when there are dating apps out there. So things started happening. There were a lot of stories and assumptions going on. You started pulling back. He pulled back. You guys ended up breaking up for a while. Meaning
times.
Yeah, like multiple times you guys were like on and off. And you said when you guys, after the first time you broke up or took a break, you guys came back together and he was never the same.
Yes.
You did say that he was never the same and you couldn't get the relationship. You guys couldn't get it to go back to where it was when you first met. So there's always this weirdness between the two of you. So then you, again, kind of officially ended it. How long ago? A month or so ago? Would you say a couple months ago?
Yeah, a couple months ago, probably. Yeah, I would say it was the end of April. Or no, excuse me. It was almost the end of February.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So then you've been dating other people, not exactly meeting any love connections and having, you're having like an okay time. And then you actually were out on a date with someone else and he happened to be in the same restaurant or bar that you were in.
Yes, I forgot about that. That's what sparked our conversation. Cause it was like, to me, that's just a sign. It was like, I tried so hard. There was a couple weeks that I was like, okay, I'm not going to reach out to him. Like, we're not going to talk. And then I go out on this date that I was really excited about. And there he is. Like, he lives an hour away. I was totally on a different side of town, like never go to the side of town. And we end up at the same place that night. And I texted him, like, it was kind of like a funny thing, like, oh, of course, kind of thing. And man, I got an earful or text full.
He was mad that you were out with another person.
Oh, you could tell he was so upset that I was out on a date. And, I was going to talk to him after and I was like, hey, we're about to leave. If you want to hang out, we can chat. Just refused to do it. So there was a lot of, we were going to meet and talk and he would back out every single time. And so I think that's when I talked to you. I was like, I'm done. I've tried to meet up with him and talk to him, but we would always get into it. And it was kind of a blame game in a sense of like, he thought I was wrong. I thought he was wrong, but we just weren't clearly communicating. And then I talked to you and that's when you very nicely pointed out that I was not in my adult chair. And here, and that's where I said, it's crazy because I just felt this pull to him. It's like, no matter how much, and I told him this when we spoke, every single date I went out on, and it wasn't like a ton, but every single one I went out on, I literally left thinking about him.
Well, let's call him Tim. Let's call him Tim. Let's give him a name.
Okay. We can call him Tim. So I thought about Tim every single time that I was leaving a date. And even when I was on the date, no matter, some of these guys are great guys. And I literally was thinking about him and I was like, just in the back of my mind constantly. I was like, something's not right at this point. And I think that's kind of when we talked and was like, something has to happen. I didn't have closure. I couldn't tell if it was I needed closure or if I just needed truth from him. If that was wrong of me, I couldn't figure it out. And that's when you suggested, I think I was hiking that day. You're like, turn off your phone, don't text, don't call.
I said, get clear, get really clear, be with yourself, find your truth.
And that's where I came up with the whole, when you said that, it was like, I need to apologize to him. And I don't know why that moment in time happened.
Well, wait a minute. We have to back up a little bit. I just want to back you up just to fill people in. What had happened was first of all, this is the whole dating app thing that blows my mind. Oh. So your friend had like texted you a picture that he was on a dating app, like way back when you guys were dating, and vice versa. He had found out that you were on a dating app. But the thing is he didn't know the whole story. He didn't know that you were looking up, you had heard your ex was on, you just wanted to see his profile and that was it. You never even used the dating app. So it's like this whole dating app thing. Mm-hmm. And when we spoke last week, I said, listen, if you like this person, one of you needs to be in your adult chair. He's not. He's stuck in blame. he wants you, but he's blaming you. He has a lot of trust issues. He can't get over the trust issues. I said, you have to be in your adult. You have to be the one that comes clean, takes responsibility. And we talked about the membership. I'm like, you have to own it and say, yeah, I was on a dating app. Like, you can't deny it. And you weren't doing that, by the way. On a side note, you were not denying it because you guys didn't even have a chance to talk.
Yeah.
So I said,
I was reasoning it.
Yeah, you were rationalizing everything. Well,
yes.
He doesn't know. And, there was definitely blame going on with you for him. And I said, you have to have a conversation with him where you're totally honest. No one's upset. It's just facts. That's what we do from our adult. And we're really honest. And you not only say to him, yes, I was on an app. Here's why. But the other fact is, I really, really like you. And we have a strong connection. And I want to try again. But I feel like you don't trust me. How can we do that? How can we work through this? Like, there has to be, when we're in our adult chair, taking responsibility, owning your reality, being honest, and talking about the elephant that's sitting right in the middle of the room that nobody wants to talk about, which is he was feeling weird with you for a while. You were feeling weird with him, but nobody was talking about it.
Right. Or we would try and the other one would quickly get very defensive and not let the other one speak. And I think, that was the hardest. Was it's almost like you kind of both do have to come from your adult in a sense of at least hearing the other out. And I think how it was different this time was, that you told me practice. I was like, I got to practice what I'm going to say, because I am very quick to say, I felt right in what I did and why I did it.
Justified.
I felt very justified in why I was doing everything the way I was doing it. And, I've had a whole lot of experience, obviously, going through a divorce, things like that. It gives you such a different perspective. And sometimes I think that's a good thing. And sometimes I think it's not such a good thing, because in your mind, you've been through the whole marriage thing. Now you're trying to come back to the dating world, and it's a different world and you treat it differently. But I think how I showed up differently after you and I talked was I literally practiced, which I've never done before. I practiced what I was going to say to him. And I practiced speaking fact and truth and being totally vulnerable, totally honest, authentic, whatever you want to say. It was like, holy crud, this is not comfortable that I have to say my truth. It was so uncomfortable to say, look, I like you. I still really like you. I'm sorry for what I did. And I'll tell you, with the whole app thing, we didn't even go into why I was on it, because you know what? I was like, it doesn't even matter anymore. I wanted to own the mistake I made. Here's the mistake I made. I'm really sorry, because you know what? I was married before, haven't dated in 10 years. Here I am trying to date again, and I did it wrong, and I'm sorry. And I just want to put that out there, because I really like you. I was very interested in you. I didn't care one bit about anyone else I was talking to. I cared about you. And I was very hesitant in the beginning. And I think me being hesitant was a red flag to you, and you saw it as something else. And so I think even just stating where I was versus getting into all the weeds of things really, really helped, because I got out of the weeds of why I did this or why did you do that. It was more so, here is my truth. Now I want to hear from you. Like I know you were on these dating apps. I have screenshots. I have people telling me, I just want to hear from you why you're on there. Like, were you on there and why? And he said, I was, and I've been on there since December, because in December, screenshots were sent to me. And he said, I was going to hurt you before you hurt me, because I was very interested in you. And it was the most vulnerable,
raw conversation.
Raw conversation I've ever had in my life, including conversations with my ex-husband. I've never been that vulnerable. It was so uncomfortable. Like, I can't explain how uncomfortable it was, but man, it had a great ending to it. So
it works. It works.
It does.
And you also shared something with me earlier about how when he started to get elevated, because remember,
yes,
when we are in a relation, or when we're doing this with someone, when we're having these important, tough conversations, one of us has to come into the conversation in the adult. We got to be in the adult chair. And you were in it. So when he started to elevate and go into blame or whatever, he was getting triggered. What did
Off
you
his
do?
rant. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on a rant or whatever.
He was going on a rant. And as much as I wanted to come in on it and be like,
and participate in the rant. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to defend yourself. Naturally, you want to defend yourself. And I just cut it off. I was like, whoa, wait, hold on. Look, I don't want to go down that path. It doesn't matter. I believe you. I'm telling you, this is where I came from. And so XYZ. And I would cut it off and bring him back to where we were in the conversation. So we stuck to that more
facts,
authentic conversation. Like facts, but more like, but the true conversation of this is how I feel. This is how you feel. And less on, let me go on this tangent about this one situation. I'm like, wait, I don't want to argue. And I literally said that I don't want to argue. Like, I came here because I care about you. And we just, there was a couple different instances that I stopped it, but it was like when I showed up that way, like you could just see his wall, like the wall would start to come up and then it would just go back down when I would stop the rant. Which I've never experienced that because I'm the type that I'm like, I'm a 1 on the Enneagram. So I'm like, oh no, my way's right. And so it's like,
of course,
you feed right into that. And you want to defend yourself. Who doesn't want to defend themselves, right? When someone's like going after you.
Well, here's the thing. We don't when we're in our adult. Now, it's not that we lay down and take it from the adult.
Correct.
But we don't get into the going back and forth that we do that gets us nowhere in the adolescent. We do what you did. Mm-hmm. The ego, of course, will always want to defend itself and be right. But if you're having a conversation with someone like you are, or an argument, it gets you nowhere. You've got to go up a perspective. You got to go with a higher perspective, which was exactly what you did. It was beautifully done. When you said, wait, what did you say? You didn't go back and forth and defend yourself. You instead went, I
would say, wait, hold on. I really do not want to argue right now. Like, I want to know truth and here is my truth kind of thing, depending on what we were talking about. But all I would say is, I just want to hear this from you, or I just want truth, because I want to know what's really going on. Because my whole goal in my mind, my goal was, I want to know if this is real for him as it is for me. Mm-hmm. And if it is, like, I want this to work. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to make it work by arguing over, I think right, at that wrong. Point, who's right and who's wrong. And we've been together, it's been over a year and a half now. And we were on, I think we broke up like 3 different times. And again, all based on assumptions. Yep. I would say something, we need to take a step back. So he would end it because he saw that as, oh, she's cheating or she's this or that. And we never had those conversations. So I know we can't start clean and fresh, but I knew we couldn't rehash the past year and a half. It was going to have to be, here's the high level facts. And here's the truth. This is what I feel right now. Do you feel this way? What do you want? Are you still interested? Like, is this what you truly want? Are we on the same page? Here are the big issues that we had. And we went back and forth. There was some big issues. I have some faults that I totally own. One of them is I honestly do not recall this. And I took this to heart. The one thing, my goal number 1 was, I want this to work. If he truly wants it, I truly want it. I want to walk away and we're still doing this. Mm-hmm. And then 2, I wanted to learn about myself. Mm. What was, I was like, I've got to own whatever this is.
Good girl.
I don't want to.
Yes.
Right. I was like, I have to own. So I need him to tell me what I did wrong, what was triggering him. I was like, look, tell me. You tell me my faults. I'm sure I have a million. I was like, I'll tell you your faults. We kind of joked around about it. And I told him what bugged me about him and vice versa. And he said, we had this other couple that we would go out with. And he said, I felt like, whatever they were, like if they were all over each other, holding hands or whatever, you would do the same. And I said, well, I feel the opposite way. When we're there, I felt like you intentionally like wanted nothing to do with me. Like I felt so uncomfortable all the time. And he goes, well, that's just assumptions because we both thought the other versus just being ourselves. I was like, you're exactly right. It's fine every other time, except for when we're with a small group of people.
Yeah.
And I said, it was just awkward for me. And so he goes, well, that's good to know, because we both had such different perspectives. And I think subconsciously or unconsciously, it was, whichever one is right.
Same. They're both right.
It was causing us to act differently than we normally are. And so now we're both aware of that. And then the second thing was, apparently I mentioned if someone's attractive, I'll say something like, oh yeah, he's a good looking guy or whatever. And he's like, do you want to hear that from me? Like if a waitress comes up, do you want to hear that, oh, she's really good looking? I'm like, no, I am so sorry, because I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah. So now I'm going to be very conscious and very aware and catch myself with those things. And so I learned a lot about myself from the conversation as well as, okay, we're doing this fresh start, but here's what I need to work on, it sucks to hear that. And it's so uncomfortable. I'm telling you, most uncomfortable conversation I've had in my life, but man, I learned a lot about myself too. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not perfect.
Well, and I love that though, because that's exactly what we want, what we typically as human beings avoid in relationships. Yes. Well, and unconsciously, well, I'm perfect. It's all your fault. No.
Yeah.
Takes two to tango, typically, it takes two to, where you're in a relationship is between two people. So what am I doing? How am I showing up? And we don't know unless that other person mirrors it for us, or we have huge awareness about what we're doing. But, we need other human beings to say to us, hey, I noticed that you're doing this and that makes me feel uncomfortable. It's no one's job but our own to share with others what we're experiencing. That's it.
I agree.
We've got to be the one. So my hope is that you two continue to have these honest and tough conversations. And the other thing is, don't sweep anything under the carpet moving forward. So as you continue this relationship, if he does something that you go, oh, I didn't like that. And now it's not about saying 25 things in a day that you don't like, but the big things, like if it's really something that keeps occurring, for example, that you're commenting on every hot guy or good looking guy that you see, it's his job to say, hey, I don't really like it when you do that. It makes me uncomfortable. Or you say hey, I notice something's off. Can we talk about it? And the right person, because I can hear people already listening to the show that'll say something like, well, I tried that and my so-and-so friend, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, they got really mad and started screaming at me. Then maybe they're not the right person for you, because the right person that really cares about you, and I'm talking about even friendships, the right person that you're in relationship with will want this with you, will want to work at it with you, will have the tough conversations. Will they get triggered? A lot of people are going to get triggered. It's okay. But how do they react after? Do they come back with a response like, hey, I noticed I'm really triggered. I'm so sorry. I'd love you to death. Let's work on this. Or I really care about our relationship. Let's work on this. It's really important to have these kinds of conversations. So and blame does not work. Always pointing the finger at someone else does not work. You've got to point the finger back and say, wait a minute, what am I doing? How am I participating in this relationship? Because it can't just be one person.
Yeah. And I think, if you start seeing it go down that path of it's art, because we did that. It was back and forth. Like it was blame game the whole, past year and a half. And we walked, we broke up, got back to, because there was this like magnetic attraction with us. And it was like, we just always came back together, which wasn't necessarily healthy. Yeah. So it was like this time we're like, you know what, we're done. We're going to be done with this. And we had, 3 months or whatever that we were really trying to separate. Sometimes I think if it's so much of that and you really care, if you're like, man, so there's that attraction with that person, maybe walking away for a bit, truly having that time apart, that's where it came up for me. I'm going out on these dates with these great people, some not so great, some great. He was top of mind every single time at the end of the date. And it was like, you know what? I just need this one conversation with him. And it was like, we needed that time apart to, one, realize how much we cared about each other. And then two, it's almost like we needed that break to come back. So I could come back in my adult versus all this hurt built up. And it was more like, okay, here's my truth now. And it was like, I needed that time for that to be able to really think through that and then put my truth out there and have the most uncomfortable conversation I've ever had in my life.
That turned out amazing in the end.
That turned out amazing because we are back together now and starting fresh, which I think, I'm sure a lot of people out there probably experience the same things because we started dating right before COVID. I mean, it was a month before. So it kind of rushed our relationship, right? Because we were
you
not.
You didn't do the normal things. Yeah.
We didn't quote date. We went out on a couple dates prior to COVID, but then it just became so routine. And it's like, but how we left it was, we're going to start over fresh. He goes, I want to date you again. I want to take you out dates, go on small trips and really get to know each other in the real world versus COVID world, which I get, it is different. So, and lots of learnings.
And the thing that's so important is, again, when you are with someone that doesn't know this work, that does not know the work of the adult chair, really, you've got to be the one then that continues to show up and model for him or them, whoever you're dating or in relationship with, any kind of relationship. You've got to be the one that shows up in your adult chair and you inadvertently model and teach them how to do it, how to have a healthy relationship with you. So the next time, again, he goes into blame, because we're human, we'll do that. That's when you point out and you go, whoa, wait, what's happening inside? What are you feeling? What do you need from me? Like, those are the two key questions. What do you feel? What do you need? Like, let me help you. I want this to work.
I really like how you just phrased that, because that's so true. Not that this hasn't been said a million times before, but it's like, it just works. Like I had no idea me showing up that way would totally change our conversation, our relationship. I mean, it just worked. It was like, I showed up in that way and no walls went up. Like, it started to go up and then it come back down. I'm blown away by how the work you have done, this adult chair model, how it truly works. I mean, I showed up and he followed my lead in a sense.
Exactly.
Which was so crazy. I think you talked about it on a podcast about a relationship. Like it's about leading the dance or whatever. When you start dancing one way, they'll follow. Golly, there is so much truth to that. And I think I'm still today, because this happened just this weekend or happened yesterday. I'm still in so much shock of what a different conversation we had than I've ever had.
Yes.
So, and thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm so proud of you, honestly.
Well, I'm owning those things that he pointed out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And you know what? How did it make you feel when he said them?
I think prior to this month with the I own in the membership or in your membership, prior to that, I would have never thought it in that way. Whereas this month, it's like, I need to own those, like, it's all the puzzle pieces you always talk about. Like, there's some pieces we're not going to like, but they are a part of us. So we have to own that part of us.
Yeah.
And then it can transform into something good. And I have to own these things that he was shedding light on so I can work on them and transform them and turn myself into someone better, into a healthier adult. I think that's, the goal is to get to our healthiest, most authentic self. And I can't do that until I look at those pieces that I may not want it. And it's like, I don't even know if I knew they were there. It was like he had to shed light on them for me to say, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to be very conscious and very aware of those things now. And like I said, it was uncomfortable. It was the most uncomfortable conversation. I think I've said that like 20 times now, but man, it feels good now. I'm like, God, I look back, I'm still in shock. I'm so glad I had that conversation. I've been married. I never even had that type of conversation with my ex. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like what a difference of who I was before that conversation and who I am today, as weird as that sounds.
Well, you have tools now. That's what the adult chair, I think, is all about for people, is it gives us tools on how to show up in life, period.
Yeah.
Because this is the manual for life. The adult chair is the way I'm seeing this, is we don't really know how to show up in healthy ways, but really importantly, we don't know how to do it relationships well. So
Yeah.
this is a way to do it. It really gives us some tools for that. And I love that you took the time. That was when I said to you, when you said last week, I'm going to go for a hike. And I said, I want you to really spend time, get off, take your AirPods out. I don't want anything in your ears. I want you to think about, your part in all this. And what are you going to say? I want you to imagine yourself showing up in your adult. Like, what would that look like for you? How can you show up in your healthiest version of self? Because then when you show up like that energetically, man, he has the opportunity to match you and come and join you in that space. So, and you did it beautifully. But you spent time sort of rehearsing, like, what am I going to say? Fantastic. You did it beautifully. So that's why I said, okay, time for another show.
I know. And I will tell you the biggest part to that kicked this all off. And that was hard for me. That was very hard for me to go out, because I love hiking, but I usually have earbuds in and listening to music, whatever, to take those out and just be in nature. Mm-hmm. No distraction. And that's hard, because you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen, that was tough. I mean, there was these little things like that even was really tough. So I think meditation and these things that really get people take the focus on everything that's around. I have a bad habit of having TV on in the background or having earbuds in. Like, I always have to have something going in the background.
Right.
Because it's hard taking that time and just focusing on you and like what's coming up for you, your emotions.
Yep.
I think the emotions part was something you had mentioned. I was like, oh gosh, I have to feel those emotions.
Yes.
No, I don't like those emotions.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So I liked, that was probably I think the first step that you just nailed it and made it so easy for me. It was like, you got to feel this. Number one, feel it. What is the right thing? What's the next step? 2, I have to show up in my adult, because that's the only way I can get him to show up. And 3, the biggest thing was not just showing up in my adult, but speaking truth, which is a part of your adult. But I've never come so vulnerable. So, all right, I'm going to stay out of the weeds. I'm going to stay focused on this. And it just, the whole process. And you're right, there's no perfect roadmap for anything, but it's the tools and techniques and things that you teach us that got me through that. And I'm telling you, it has changed my life. So,
dang, girl.
Well,
I'm so glad.
You've changed millions of others, but you changed mine drastically.
Well, I'm really glad. Yeah, I was really proud of you, how you handled that. You really did slide into your adult and you did it beautifully. So bravo. Bravo to you.
I know. I'm proud of myself too. I can say that without bragging, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's not bragging. That's owning.
I know.
We own the good stuff too.
Yes.
And I want to say that, I'm speaking of owning, when he reflected back, like, hey, I don't like when you do this and I don't like when you do that. It's not an invitation for shame or self-judgment. I just want to say that. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was doing that. Thank you for sharing. I will correct that when I'm with you. I appreciate it.
Or defending.
You don't have to defend.
Careful not to defend myself. It was hard not defending myself.
Oh, for sure. That ego wants to defend. Yeah. Well, you did it too. Yeah. Yes. No, that gets us nowhere. That will not resolve any sort of argument. Nope.
Yeah. So I walked away from defending, which was really hard. I had to hold my tongue. But yeah, it was, you say that you want to defend yourself. Well, I was doing that because of this, or, and I think you can explain yourself to an extent, but when you start going, you're defending yourself every second, then they're going to be like partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, husband, wife are going to say like, why am I even explaining? You're defending everything. It kind of shut off. And so I just listened and said, oh, wow. I was like, I'm so sorry. And when he mentioned the bringing up of someone being attractive, I was like, I'm so sorry. I will promise I will be more aware of that, because I'm not even aware that I do that.
Exactly. And you owned it. Love it. Nicely done, my darling. Nicely done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Any last words?
No, I don't think so. I think
there you have it.
Thankful where I am. So
me too. Well, we look forward to seeing where this goes. I'm sure you'll keep us posted.
I will.
So this is how you make relationships work from the adult chair. We really appreciate you being vulnerable with us, thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people listening to this. We appreciate you. Thank you, Tracy. All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed that show. Told you it was a good one. So if you want to check out more shows that I've done with Tracy, you just go over to the Adult Chair podcast, and we're on number podcast 179 with Tracy and 199. So we have 2 other shows if you want to check out her journey. And if you want to check out coming in person with me, come meet me in Charleston, September 16th through 18th. You can get more information on that at theadultchair.com/events. And as always, come follow me on Facebook. Oh, you don't follow on Facebook. I'm old. You like on Facebook. We follow on Instagram. But come join me on social media. I would love to connect with you guys there. I love to chit chat about not just the posts, but the podcasts and everything Adult Chair. So come join me there. I'd love to connect with you, and have a wonderful rest of your week, you guys. I will talk to you next week, and I will be seated, and I know you will be too, right here in the Adult Chair.